September 1st is officially Halloween Eve. With that being said, being in the early stages of spooky season, I was thinking about ghost stories. I love to read them. I love to tell them. I love to hear them. If you can go to a place that has some connection with the supernatural, you're bound to find out one. Well, here in New England and New Hampshire especially, we've got a few places to choose from. Right here in the Mount Washington Valley, we have the Willie House, which was the site of the Willie House disaster, a terrible landslide that wiped out family that were hiding in a shelter that ironically spared their home. But it's said that you can still see orbs, hear voices around the grave where bodies that were recovered were placed. Plenty of spots down in the cemeteries in Portsmouth. In York, Maine, there is the grave of the York Witch, a young woman who was a midwife and an herbalist who died in childbirth and is renowned as being a witch by her contemporaries, her townspeople, and the people in York, Maine. Ironically, one of the stories associated with her involves a daycare center that is right next to the cemetery where she's buried, where sometimes little children will talk about the friendly white lady who likes to push them on the swing. Over around Keene, New Hampshire, you can go to Madame Sherry's castle. Sometimes on the grand staircase, it's all that's left of her famous mansion, you might see the specter of the grand and eccentric lady herself descending the stairwell. In Vermont, you have Stowe, Vermont, and Emily's Bridge, where a young woman hung herself, possibly because of a jilted lover, possibly in despair. It's interesting that when you cross that bridge, you do have a little bit of trouble with electronic devices, recording devices, cameras, until you get to the other side. It's interesting that on the storyboards that are around the parking area on the far side of the bridge, one of the tales mentions that Emily might have been a witch. What's interesting about that is only on that side of the river are the trees afflicted with a parasite known as witch's broom. There is in East Montpelier the gruesome statue of Black Agnes, which is actually a statue of a man. It's the Greek god of death, Thanatos, and it's said that whoever crawls into the statue's lap on a full moon will die or be seriously injured within a week. I've never felt it worth the effort or risk of challenging that. But then there are places like Dudleytown in Connecticut, an abandoned township that you can still hear the ghostly sounds of village life from back in the day. There are places in Massachusetts, the Bridgewater Triangle, Bridgewater, Taunton, and Raynham. In that area, all sorts of spectral happening. The ghost of old Ephraim at one of the Rehoboth, New Hampshire town cemeteries. The red-headed ghost that will suddenly appear either in the rearview mirror or the window of a car on Route 44. There are all kinds of really cool stories, local legends and folklore, and I encourage you to get out and read them, even if it's only to find out some stuff about local history, local character, local adventures, local folklore. A story doesn't necessarily have to be true in order to be good. Remember that when going in and doing any of this research.